everyone, my name is Ashley and welcome to Worth the Read. I decided to start a booktube channel because I love booktube and I want to talk about books as well. A lot of booktube channels don't talk about certain genres and I like those genres, like urban fiction. But I work a lot. So every book I read has to be worth my time. So, hence, worth the read. I'll be talking about books that I believe are worth the time to sit down and read. And books that I will tell you that are absolutely not and are a complete waste of time. My opinion, of course. Only my opinion. So, let's get into it. This will be my 2017 best books of the year wrap up. And hope you enjoy. Welcome to Worth the Read. So every year I try to read at least one autobiography. The first book I read this year was Leah Remini's Troublemaker. I read this book because of her A&E television show, The Aftermath, Scientology. And I just really dove into the Scientology world. It's very interesting to me how people can be so easily manipulated by other people, if you get what I'm saying. So I love the TV show. I decided to read the book. I gave this book 4 stars. I don't know if it's just me or other people enjoyed this book. When I read, I think everybody who's a reader reads and they hear the voice in their head. When I read this book, I heard her voice throughout the whole thing. Sometimes it takes me a while to hear the voices that I'm reading. I have to get into a book. But from the very beginning, her voice, 100%. The book discussed her life. Her life in Scientology, mostly. How she started as a child, and how she went through it as a teenager and as an adult, and her struggle with her religion. The funny thing about this book is the whole time I wanted her to say this one word. And she didn't say it. And I'm like, is she going to describe this religion as this one word? And the whole time I'm like, is she going to say the word? Is she going to say the word? And the very last page, she says the word cult. Because in everybody who isn't in Scientology, we clearly view it as a cult. But I wanted to know if she was finally going to identify it as a cult. And she did at the very end of the book. This book is funny. You will literally laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. LOL. Whatever. But it was a very enjoyable read. It's a quick read. It's only about 230, 240 pages. 243 pages. 46 pages. So it was a very enjoyable quick read. It was funny. I love Leah Remini. I was a huge fan of King and Queens. So this was my first autobiography that I picked up for the year of 2017. And I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. It was really informative about a religion that if you're not into reading about other religions, it's very interesting to see people's perspective and how they worship and how they view worlds and their views. And this book kind of gave you a snap of Scientology. The TV show dives right in there. It's crazy. But this was a great book this year. So my second favorite book of this year was actually the last book I read in December. Literally like December 30th. I finished it. Which is Every Heart's a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. This book was excellent. 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 I gave it 5 stars. Because it had me at page 1, the first page. This book is about a boarding school that houses children that have gone through these different worlds and have returned to the regular human earth world and are trying to, you know, cope with being back in this world that they didn't feel comfortable in, and they were more themselves in the other worlds that they went to. Everybody has talked about this book on BookTube. This book is amazing. 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 It's not long. 170 pages at the most. I like short books only because I feel like longer books, when you start to get to 300-400 pages, other than Harry Potter, it's just a lot of stuff in the book that is not necessary. It's a lot of sections and chapters that have been taken out. I don't know if authors just write long books, but short books are where it's at. You get straight to the point. A good short book. Now if it's a short book and it's things that's like you wish you would have knew more, or you know, you didn't have enough information, that's a different thing. But if it's a short book that is amazing, you don't take long to read it. It hits all the points. I'm not going to go into depth about this book. Everybody on YouTube has read this book and loved this book. I have the second copy up here. I think I'm going to start probably this week after I finish the book I'm reading. I like thrillers. I like spooky books. I like mysteries. And not saying this book isn't a fantasy book, because it is, but it had all those aspects of it. I'm the kind of person that will predict the ending of a book or movie before everybody else. I don't know, it's just me. I kind of figure it out before everyone. I kind of figured it out, but then I didn't. I wanted not to because it's so short, so I didn't want to just jump to conclusions. But this book was great. This is my #2 book of the year, and I was thankful that I finally read it. I got the second one from Book Outlet, so I'll be reading that. I'm finally grateful that I read this book. If you have not read this book, and I don't know how in this world you haven't read this book, because if you enjoy BookTube like I do, everybody has talked about this book. I'm late, I know, but if you have not read this book, this is a great book. It's also a great purse book because it's so thin. It doesn't weigh your purse down. I'm a person who takes a book everywhere I go. My dad's like, why do you do that? I don't, your purse is so heavy. But you never know when you can read. And that's a tip for reading. When you work all the time and you don't have the time to sit and read for 3 or 4 hours a day, take a book wherever you go. Get a chapter here, get a chapter there. But this book was nonstop. Great book. My #1 book of 2017, only had 3 that I rated 4 or better. Like I said, bad reading year. The books were okay. But the #1 book was the second book I read of the year, which I pre-ordered on Amazon, and everybody has talked about it, but it is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This book is not hard to explain. It's amazing. I don't think I used that word enough. It's amazing. It's well written. It's reality for most people, especially people of color. It's reality for me. I work in the school, so this book and the content that it's talking about with the Black Lives Matter movement and what Black people in particular have to go through in the United States, it covers it all. Everybody's talked about this book. This book is amazing. This book kind of hit close to home because one of my students left my school to go to a predominantly white private school, the #1 private school in Pennsylvania. I'm from Philly, so Pennsylvania. And she literally goes through what Star is going through in the book. Not with the whole death of the best friend, but the code switching. And if you don't know what code switching is when a person of color feels as though they have to adapt the way they are in certain environments to fit in. And if you are a person of color, you know how that is, especially if you work in certain industries. I particularly code switch all the time. It's just what we have to do to survive. It's a shame, but it's the truth. And this book is one scene where the dad, her dad, Star's dad, owns a business. And he's literally in front of the business that he owns. And the cops stop him. And I had to stop reading the book because I was terrified that the cops were going to kill him. And this is the book. This is the book. You know it's fiction. This is fiction. This is not real life. This is the book. And I had to stop reading because I was terrified that the cops were going to kill him. So could you imagine what black people go through every day in real life when the cops stop them? And this is a book. But I continue reading, thank God. Great book. It's long, not too long. But again, I say if a book is long and it's long with a purpose, and every chapter is purposeful and to a point and has a point and is necessary, then I do not have problems with the length. And it's not that long. But when a book is extra long and it's just throwaway chapters, it's not necessary. #1 book of 2017. They've already they're making this a movie. 1. 2, they decided to make it a movie before the book was even released. I got this, I ordered this on pre-order from Amazon, or ordered myself a copy and my student that went to the private school a copy. Great book. This is Angie Thomas's first, I believe, her first published release. I'm waiting with bated breath for your next book. Can we move it along? This book was great. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. 5-star book. #1 of the year. So those were my top 3 books of the year. I had a good reading year. Most of my books averaged around 3.5 stars. Those are the only 3 books that I gave 4 or above. Comment below. Tell me what your top 3. If you can, you know, reduce it to 3. But your top 3 books of this year, 2017. And I hope this video turned out great. This is my first booktube video and I enjoy talking about it. Welcome to Worth the Read, and hopefully see you soon. Comment, subscribe, say hello. If you're in Philly, say what's up. Holla at your girl. Have a great day. Many blessings. Bye.